The Andy Pollin Show on ESPN 630, the sports capital.
We call this Ravens Preview because generally on a Friday we're looking ahead to a Sunday game or a Monday night game. But since the Ravens played last night to open the season at Kansas City, this is sort of Ravens Review. And I don't know, it's kind of like the same old thing against Kansas City. As good as Baltimore has been, Kansas City has their number, 1-5 in their last 6 games against the Chiefs. And last night was no different. They did make a great comeback in this game. They made it worthwhile. They were down 27-17 in the fourth quarter before kicking a field goal. They got the ball back at their own 13 with 1:50 left and no timeouts. Lamar Jackson completed a couple of passes to Isaiah Likely. Big night, had 111 yards and a score, and then he got a first down a couple of plays later. He found Rashad Bateman on the sideline for 38 yards to move the Ravens to the Kansas City 10 with 19 seconds left. And here's where the game was probably decided, because if you look at the replay, you will see how open Zay Flowers is in the back of the end zone, but he missed him. And had he hit him there, then it gets interesting. And on top of that, you had John Harbaugh, the coach, Ravens coach, on the sideline signaling to try a 2-point conversion when it looked like Baltimore had scored a touchdown, where with no time left on the clock, he hit Isaiah Likely at the back of the end zone, but replay showed that Likely had a toe on the end line and therefore was out of bounds. Even with that replay, and I don't think this is a really good look for Lamar, because at this point, by the time he faces the media, he's had a chance to go to the television or whatever tape facilities they have in the locker room, and he can see that he was out of bounds. I mean, it took Sean Hockley, the referee, like 10 seconds to look at the replay, go, yeah, he's out of bounds. Game over. Kansas City wins. But this was Lamar after the game insisting, no, we scored a touchdown.
I thought it was a touchdown. I still think it's a touchdown. Yep.
Lamar also 12 targets for Isaiah. Just what goes in that connection, and how did you kind of see him, aside from the last play, really pay off your faith in him?
Man, he was just open. I seen, I don't want to get it wrong, but it looked like 32 and 20 was like turning to like pursue him when they realized where the ball was going. So I threw it so he can like make a play on it, just so I don't throw it like a line job to hit him in the face mask and they turn around and pick the ball. So I gave him the ball so he can jump a little bit. But I thought he did a great job, acrobatic catch, and I believe it was 2 feet in. Stand on that.
Well, okay, but it doesn't matter. The replay showed it's not really in question. It's a small margin. But that's why they paint those end lines. That's why they have replay. That's why they can zoom in on the feet. He was out of bounds. He had a toe on the line. Game over. Listen to this here, because I found this to be very interesting in the post-game news conference. John Harbaugh, a couple of weeks ago, said that he believes by the time Lamar Jackson has finished his career, he'll be the best player at the quarterback position in the history of the NFL. Well, I mean, you're not going to judge that on Super Bowls because he's 27, doesn't have any, and needs to get busy if he's going to get past Tom Brady and the quarterback he faced last night, or he's got 3 in his pocket and is trying for a 3-peat. But in terms of what he could do on the field, he's incredible. I mean, you watched this last night. He carried 16 times for 122 yards, and he also threw for nearly 300. I mean, a dual threat like that, Michael Vick maybe is a comp there, and Vick never went to a Super Bowl, so maybe there's that. But I think he might be better than Michael Vick. He's bigger than Michael Vick, it seems, and even though he's down to 205 pounds this year. But he said something after the game, which I think if you listen here to John Harbaugh, is troublesome to him. Listen to the question that was asked to John Harbaugh about what Lamar said after the game about the Chiefs.
What are kind of the emotions, though, at the end of the game when you feel like, okay, you've tied the game, and then you're told no?
I'm more than talking about emotions. You're disappointed. You thought I mean, I don't know what it looked like on the replay, so I can't say, but really couldn't tell on the big screen. You guys probably had a better viewpoint of it. So.
John, what were you told about the illegal formations penalties?
Yeah, they put a thing out that they said they were going to call that differently. I think understanding how differently, we were the first offensive series of the season with that.
Lamar has called Kansas City his kryptonite. How do you feel about his late drive, and does it give you confidence moving forward if you play them again?
I thought his late drive was great, and I thought he had some other good drives in there, some great conversions in there. So we'll be looking forward to the Raiders. You know, we've got to get ready for the Raiders, and that'll be a big challenge for us in our own home stadium, a home opener. So that's what we'll be getting ready for.
All right, the question at the end there was, Lamar says that the Chiefs are his kryptonite, and Harbaugh couldn't change the subject fast enough to get to what's next on the schedule. He didn't want to address his star quarterback, his team leader, the player he says could be the best quarterback of all time, saying, yeah, that's my kryptonite. That's bad, because they're going to play them again. It's almost certain that they're going to meet up maybe again in the AFC Championship game, as they did last year. They probably are the two best teams in the AFC. You know, maybe the Jets get in there with, with what happens with Rodgers this year. But he's asked the question. Lamar says that the Chiefs are his kryptonite, and John Harbaugh can't change the subject quick enough to get to, we're playing the Raiders next week. That there might be a conversation between the two of them. That once you put doubt in his own mind by saying that, and more importantly, putting doubt in the rest of the team that, hey, I just can't get past these guys. Well, guess what? If you're going to fulfill your promise and live up to what they're paying you now, that good for Lamar for working out his own deal without an agent. But, if you're going to be at the top end of what quarterbacks make, you got to be toe-to-toe with that team to get past them. Now, it could be that the Chiefs are just that good. They didn't even have a big game for Kelce last night. Travis Kelce caught 3 passes for 34 yards. He's always their big weapon. And they still won. They still won against a really good team and a really good defense. This is Harbaugh with more on his team. Very pleased with what he saw overall. This is, again, after the game.
That's a heck of an offense out there, and our guys played so hard, fought against the run. I thought did a good job against the run. Covering their guys. It's not easy with all the screens and all the different things they do. And then you've got Mahomes who extends. And I thought our D-line and our rushers did a good job of keeping them in there, especially in the second half. So many good things happen. But there's going to be a lot of things to work on for sure.
Yeah, and the defense overall doing a great job for him last night, just not good enough as they gave up 27 points. And, again, here's on the team overall.
I'm proud of the way our guys played. I think the way we fought, the way we competed, the challenges that we faced just by the situation of the game and all the things going on around the game, and obviously the challenge that our opponent presents us, which is a great opponent, and then the adversity throughout the course of the game is a challenge. I thought our guys, met all those things, all those setbacks at times, and fought like crazy to overcome it. And looked like we had an opportunity there to tie the game up or try to win it with a 2-point conversion. So it didn't happen at the end. But proud of the way the guys fought. We're only going to get better from here on out, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to getting back to work next week and getting ready for the Raiders.
John, just starting with, obviously, Isaiah just was huge for you guys all night and even battled back to get on the field for that last possession. What did you see out of him, and what do you tell him after coming so close?
Oh, I think Isaiah played just a great football game, a courageous game. I made so many plays, especially down the stretch, play after play. I put Lamar, obviously, in the same category. All those guys. I mean, those guys were making plays and fighting. The offensive line, I thought, did a heck of a job out there. A lot of question marks that, the pundits and the prognosticators had about the offensive line, saying that with that offensive line we couldn't do anything. And to see the way they went out there and played against that defense, I thought was pretty impressive. And that's a challenge, especially in this environment. Communication, and there were problems on both sides. But I thought Isaiah played a great football game. I was proud of him and a lot of other guys.
You heard Harbaugh mention that they would have gone for 2 if that touchdown would have stood up for Isaiah Likely to win the game. There's that school of thought. You're on the road, tough place. You got the opportunity to win it there. Don't take your chances in overtime. Go for 2 and win the game. The only question I would have about that is this. He's got the best kicker in the history of the NFL. Justin Tucker has kicked a 66-yard field goal. He's the most accurate kicker in the league. Yeah, sure, he's missed a few. I might take my chances with that. And you got a good defense. You know, Kansas City scored 27. Okay, they didn't score 47. If it were me, what I would have done is I would have kicked the extra point. It's moot because the touchdown was overruled, but I would have kicked the extra point and take my chances if you lose the flip with your defense or, try to get it down the field and get a touchdown. You still get them to match on that, but I still would do that. I would not have gone for 2 there. But again, that's something that he didn't have to make a decision on because the touchdown was overruled. One other leftover from this, and maybe this is something to keep an eye on when they play again. There was a play out of bounds where Patrick Mahomes scrambled out, and it looked initially like it was a late hit on Roquan Smith, and he should have been flagged. And he got roughed up on the sidelines. This was Roquan after the game discussing what had happened on that play and maybe something to look out for should these teams meet again this year.
Oh, he flopped. He flopped. That's why the referees didn't call it. It was a great call a great no call by the ref. But whoever 88 is, I don't know who he is, but he better watch himself.
Did
he did a little slick push.
Was there somebody on the sideline that pushed you as well?
Yeah, whoever number 88 is, I have no idea who he is, but I'll see him when I see him.
88 is Peyton Hendershot. So he's a tight end, 88, and if they meet again, keep an eye on that. Roquan Smith is the emotional leader of the defense. He's a great talker, and he just kind of put that out there if they meet up. Meantime, here's the schedule for them, and this is a pretty tough start. You're opening with the defending champs, 2-time defending champs. They get Vegas at home next week, but then they have to go to Dallas. They got Buffalo at home after that. They're at Cincinnati. So of the first 5 games, you're looking at almost 4 certain playoff teams, unless, things bottom out for the Cowboys, but they won 12 games last year. They should be back in the playoffs. And then their first, I don't want to say cupcake, but, and maybe we'll find out what they are at that point. But on October 13th, they play Washington at home. And then they have games against Tampa and Cleveland, and Denver gets a little softer after that. They play the Chargers at Los Angeles on a Monday night in November. They've got Philadelphia at home after that. So that's that's going to be a tough stretch because you're coming back from the West Coast for a Monday night game in your home the following Sunday. So it's a short week playing a team that, they may collapse again this year like they did last year. And then at the end of the season, you got the Giants on the road. This is after the bye. They got a late bye, just like Washington. So December looks like this. They're at the Giants. Then they're home against Pittsburgh, which is always a huge rivalry game. Then they're at Houston, a playoff team. And they finish up at home against Cleveland. It's a tough schedule this year. There's only a couple of games that you can look at and say, man, but you don't know what the Jim Harbaugh Chargers are going to look like this year. And that's also going to be a Monday night game. Again, Monday night game at Los Angeles. So that's what happens. You get the first place schedule. And as they, look to get back to the playoffs and back to the AFC Championship game, that's going to be a tough uphill climb. But they did play a very competitive game last night, just coming up a little bit short.